Hi, everyone. It is Tuesday, February 17th. Welcome to another Tech Check live stream where we cover all the moves in the AI space. There's a lot of them. I'm Deirdre Bosa. Now, there's a question that has consumed every software CEO that we've spoken to over the last few weeks. How do you survive when AI can do what your product does? Most of them don't have a great answer yet. Some are embedding AI features and hoping that's enough. Others are cutting costs and praying the storm passes. A few are in outright denial. But then there's Dylan Field, who decided to partner with the company most likely to disrupt him. Figma today just announcing Code to Canvas, a new feature built in partnership with Anthropic that lets users take code generated in AI tools like Claude Code and convert it into fully editable designs right inside of Figma. Now, if you've built a working interface by prompting an AI agent, you can now bring that output directly into Figma's canvas, where your team can refine it, compare options side by side, and align on what the product should actually look and feel like. Now, essentially, Figma and Field, they're running toward AI. They're not running away from it. And it's not that they're immune to disruption. It's that they're betting they can be a part of the new workflow that this disruption creates. Dylan Field, CEO of Figma, the guy making that big bet, joins me now. And I'll remind the audience to please get in your questions and comments. Dylan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
So maybe let's start. How did this partnership come together? Did you call Anthropic or did they call you?
We've been exploring all sorts of stuff with Anthropic historically because this is actually just an evolution on what we already have. We have a way already to go from Figma design to code through dev mode MCP. And that lets you read Figma files, bring them to code. We thought it'd be really cool. Given that workflows are changing, we're seeing now folks do things like, before it was linear, you go from brainstorm to design to code. Now we're seeing people hop around between different stages at different times, but you still need to get the big picture. You need to zoom out and actually consider different possibilities, be divergent in your thinking, and also be able to directly manipulate data and visuals. Like if I prompt that I want to go change something from a 12 pixel width to a 14 or 16, and I'm trying to resize icons via prompting, it's just the wrong tool for that job. And being able to do all this in a shared canvas where you can see the bird's eye view and bring your teammates in to productively collaborate and expand the ideas with you. We think that round trip and going all the way back and forth is extremely important.
Right. So you're kind of combining the tools. And I will note there was this sort of post that got a lot of attention. It showed how Anthropic was actually using Claude Code in its marketing tools, and it named Figma before this partnership sort of became official. So what does this partnership change?
Yeah, well, now our users that are able to, that are in Claude Code and they're in Figma can now bring their work from Claude Code into Figma. And with that, they can get all the benefits of the design canvas, which is infinite and able to really be a place where you can explore all these possibilities. Because I think right now, what happens is a lot of people that are working first in code, be it developers, designers, or anyone that's an AI builder, they might be someone who is trying to make progress fast. And just because you're going fast doesn't mean you're going fast to the right place. And so instead of having that tunnel vision, how do you actually zoom out and really see the possibilities? Because now we're in this world where people are trying to really embrace taste. That was the discourse this last weekend. And for us at Figma, we've been talking about how design, point of view, and craft, these are the differentiators. And we've been talking about that for years. And I am so excited that everyone else is now seeing this. But that taste, that craft, that ability to then select from this infinite possibility space and then pull in the right thing to build, it really requires side-by-side comparison and the ability to think through problems visually. And most people are visual thinkers. So being able to go from code to the design canvas and then back again and implement it and then ship to prod, I think that's something that's really exciting. And just to start too, that round trip experience will only get better from here and with more partners.
So at the crux of sort of the sell-off in software that we've been seeing in public markets is this idea, do you need another step? Do you need that round trip? And actually, there's lots of comments and questions already in the YouTube live stream getting at this sort of existential question for Figma and many other software companies. And I guess someone put it this way, What are your views on AI replacing the whole design framework, rendering Figma and other companies pointless?
Yeah, I think I obviously have a different point of view than the hypo there. So my point of view is that we're now in an era where you can make things very quickly. You can build things very quickly. So it's not enough just to go build them. You have to build the right thing. Good enough, it works, is not enough. You really have to focus
for designers,
on
right?
design,
I guess that's the distinction
not
you're
just
making.
designers, for everyone, for all companies. In a world where you're an engineer and you're able to build things very quickly, and now you're considering what should I build? Well, welcome to the world of design. And
so I guess,
if
Dylan,
you're a company that is trying to quickly go build and innovate, you really need to have a point of view. This actually goes more back to marketing in some ways, but also it goes through your entire brand and product process too. You have to have a point of view that is different than the rest of the world and that you'll hold on to. And I think the requirements have gone up, the stakes have gone up. If you're trying to build software, there will be exponentially more software in the world. This is already a trend that's been happening. We've already been on that exponential. It just happens to be going asymptotic now and vertical. So,
right.
I'm actually quite excited. I think the future of software is more exciting than ever before.
Right, Dylan, you bring up a really good point. We've seen a lot of this over the last 3 years. There's been these sort of scares. We've seen really great image generation models. What is it about this moment? And I'm talking in the last 6 weeks or so, where these AI coding and agent tools have been better. It feels like a big sort of step change. I don't know, does it feel like that to you? What's different about this moment that is causing so much fear in the market, thinking that AI agents are a threat? You're obviously seeing that as an opportunity, but what's different right now?
Yeah, well, I guess I've kind of been in the world in my head of course, model capabilities will continue to improve. Of course, we're on an exponential for a while now. And that's why I thought it's really important that we make sure that as models get better, Figma gets better. And also, to me, it's very clear. That's why every company, every designer, every engineer, anyone building products that are software based has to really think about, do they get better as models get better? And about this moment, I think that we're continuing to see exponential play out. And it'll be super interesting where it goes from here. You know that things will get better. You new capabilities will come online. You just don't know when exactly.
Right.
But the world is moving from closed systems to open systems. And that's a really foundational point to understand if you're in the software business.
What do you need to understand about it, embracing that open model?
Well, I think that in the past, in closed systems, you could really model in your head and simulate all the potential players and sort of the different ways that technology would evolve. And now I think with an open system, you can know what is possible and what you're going to be likely to see. And you really have to think through what is the experience of the future. And you have to have that point of view. That point of view is so critical now. And so that's why I think that there's all the more need at a time when you can go build things so quickly to really be thinking about the bigger picture and to be going through the design process. And, this is nothing new. In the past, when we've had technology leaps, we've come to the same conclusions. This is not just the first time that this has been explored. And so if you look to history, I think it informs the present too.
And that's a lot of sort of the through line that I hear too, is you need taste, whether it is image design or writing or even coding. But so let me ask you, there was this post that kind of got a lot of attention on SaaS. It was this long post about where software is heading, and it kind of laid out an argument that you need one of these three things: either proprietary data, regulatory lock-in, or you need to be embedded in a transaction. What does Figma have that can't be replicated? Maybe it's none of those things, but what is it?
I think we've got a number of moats, and I think that everyone should not only be looking for moats, but they should be thinking about what new moats can they build as well. But I also think you shouldn't be sacred about trying to lock your users into one workflow. And that's what the bet is today that we are talking about. is that we're trying to make it so that wherever you start, whether it be a napkin sketch or a shower thought or design canvas or code, you should be able to go anywhere else that you need to go. And so you should be able to start anywhere, go everywhere. And I think it's really key that you embrace that philosophy, which is really the Unix philosophy, as you work, in order to make it so that your customers are able to get the most benefit possible.
Right. It reminds me what Ali Ghodsi told us a few weeks ago. He said there's no more lazy software investing. You need to look for the companies that are actually embracing these tools, which is sort of the message we're getting from you. A few really great questions from Torque and Trends on YouTube. They ask, what is the biggest misconception people have about designing products with AI today?
I think that the biggest misconception, by the way, I love this question. I would say it's that the first prompt is the final output, whether it's iteration through design, like we're talking about today, where you're able to go from code to design canvas, or it's even just image generation and working with media. I mean, we bought this company, Weavy, now we call it Figma Weave, and they've created a workflow-based system where you can use node-based editing in order to transform different model outputs and then actually create a pipeline that gets you to an amazing solution at the end of the pipeline. And I think of AI output almost more like clay that you then use to shape, and less like, okay, I've done a prompt and I got a one shot and oh my God, it's so good, let's go. And so I think people need to embrace this as a part of the process, but not assume that a single prompt is the process itself in order to get somewhere great.
Right. The idea that you're starting from a point that has already taken so many iterations and so many drafting. And I think you're talking about integration. I know that Figma has been going down this road very much, expanding into slides, sites, marketing assets. What happens, though, when the AI agent becomes the integration layer?
Well, there are many things that can mean. Some people talk about, for example, AI agents as what will use software in the future. And I think, there's verifiable tasks and there's non-verifiable tasks. And anything in the world of design and creation is inherently non-verifiable. And so I think that there's sort of different categories there, but also there's the auditability. And when agents are, working on your behalf, I think that if you're trusting agents today, you are very brave. They're not flawless as it stands right now. And so my assumption is that at the very least, even under the current paradigm of thinking, which I'm not sure is quite correct, you will need to be able to audit agents, and that'll have to be human readable. But the other thing that I think is really interesting is the world where people are not quite talking about yet, which is one where agents can work alongside you. I mean, in Figma, we have a multiplayer canvas. You can invite humans in, and you can work alongside them, and you can see what they're up to. You can see their cursors moving around the screen. Well, what if all software, it was the case that you could actually work alongside agents, see what they're doing in real time, and actually really grok that in a more intuitive way about what they're up to?
I mean, I hear you on that, Dylan, and I feel like that's the version of AI agents we've been sold over the last few years. But what we're seeing this year is so much more powerful. We're talking about, like OpenClaw, where you have an agent on a totally separate device, a Mac Mini, and you just let it do its thing. I've seen this firsthand as well. I don't have the time or the patience to sit next to my agent while it's doing all of these things. I hear your argument as well on security. That's a huge concern, but it's only getting better, isn't it? Isn't there a world in which, you're not sitting alongside your agent, but you're giving it more and more trust because that's making you more productive? So where does that leave, an interface?
Yeah, well, my guess is that there's some things like, for example, if you're trying to, we already have newsletters today, right? We send them out sometimes, as do you. And that's an aggregation of a bunch of content. And so then, therefore, you don't have to go read all the content. Instead, you have an aggregation. I think that's something that agents will excel at. And it's not something you have to have super high trust to go delegate. But I think the more important the task is to get right, the more you'll want to supervise and the more you'll want to be in that context and look at what the agent is doing in the future. And so I think there's just a bunch of different ways that plays out. Also, I believe in terms of the permanence of whatever you're creating, if it's something that's going to have a shelf life of an hour or a day, I think it's more something that could be potentially automated in the future. Whereas if you were looking at something that is going to be long lasting, a book, a movie, or a piece of software that is going to constantly evolve, I do not think that we'll get to a place where anytime soon, at least, and likely not in the next 5 years, where you don't have a human in the loop.
Right. I guess one of the most useful parts of, an AI chatbot, just how we've known it, and I guess also an agent, my early sort of experimentation with AI agents, is how well it knows you, right? And it learns your taste or your point of view. It's getting more and more powerful. Like a few months ago, I tried to switch from ChatGPT to Gemini, and I couldn't do it because Gemini didn't know me as well. But this year, I switched from ChatGPT and Gemini to Claude Code, and I have not looked back. I have not opened ChatGPT in weeks. The model is just that much better and that much smarter that it learns my point of view and my taste so much quicker. Are you worried about sort of handing that over to Anthropic? How do you make sure that you keep that side of it for your customers?
Well, I think that memory and context is super important. And if you look at where design is done today, and you look at I think that'll be very interesting to watch. I think that the context that's critical, some of it will be shared because it's important to workflows. Some of it will not be shared in the future, and every company will have to come to terms with what that means for them. But I think memory is a totally different thing. It's related to context, but it's kind of separate. And like you said about Claude Code, I mean, I don't know if you've got some memory set up where you're like writing to MD files in Claude Code. Is that how you're setting it up? So it has some memory that's persistent?
I guess my point is that it didn't have the memory of the last, 3 years of my workflow. And yet it was just so much smarter. It didn't really need it. It understood me faster. I didn't have to spend years training it. And if that's the way AI is headed, how do you make sure that like Figma keeps that moat? And you don't hand it over to Anthropic?
I think that, well, I don't think that we're, in what you're saying, it depends on your workflow, but for design, there's so much that is the sort of decision-making process and exploration process. Think about all the constraints that people are really thinking through when they're trying to solve something for design. They're thinking not just about what does this screen look like and how does it visually look and feel. They're thinking through other UX decisions that are related to many other properties of their systems. They're thinking through the business constraints. They're thinking through metrics that have worked, not worked. They're thinking through the culture of the moment and how to relate to it. They're thinking through marketing aspects as well. I mean, I think that we are not at a point where AI is able to synthesize all that. And also,
I hear you, Dylan.
That might not ever be synthesized. Yeah.
I hear you. I can't imagine a world where I just let, no matter what the model is, go off and do my creative work and process for me. So I hear you on that side. Let's talk a little bit about sort of this moment, because I know you've been a public CEO now for less than a year. What a year to be that. How are you enjoying it or not enjoying it, especially when you're seeing these moments of volatility?
I think volatility is probably good at strengthening companies long term. If you look at companies that have been through very volatile times in the past, and obviously you got survivorship bias, the ones that make it through are the ones that are resilient. And of course, we think that we're not just gonna make it through, we're gonna make it through and really be excellent. And so I think if you look back at this time from that perspective, we'll just be a more resilient company overall. And I think that's a good thing.
Right. I totally agree with you. I think it pushes you and you have to respond to the market, which is obviously extremely liquid. Whereas in the private markets, right, you don't get that kind of immediate feedback in the same way. What do you say to I know you have such a wide network of founders in tech and in the AI space. What do you say to them? You don't have to name names about being a public CEO. I can imagine them looking at this moment and thinking, this sucks. You got to watch your stock go down. You have to, coach your employees through it. What do you tell them?
We really don't talk about the stock market internally. We just talk about what we got to build. I mean, I tell people the same thing as I tell my employees.
Who are considering?
Well, no, literally, it's the same as what I tell my employees, which is we control the inputs. Let's show up every day, work as hard as we can to go make it so that we build the right things for our customers, and everything else will take care of itself. Of course, you have to have the right strategy. You have to be building the right things. And that gets us back, I think, to the earlier conversation. But yeah, I think that other private company CEOs, some have asked. The frequency of people that have asked me about it has gone down. I'll say that. But yeah, I don't think that there's too much interesting to share other than what already we are talking about with our employees.
Do you recommend it?
We just got to build the right thing every day. Well, it depends on someone's situation entirely.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
I'm very glad we went out, and I think more companies should go out sooner. If I was going to give a blanket recommendation, although again, it's all specific to the company, the person, the situation.
Yeah, well, I'm with you there. I think they should go out so that the average investor too can sort of participate in that massive wealth creation. I know we're running out of time, Dylan. I just want to ask you really quickly about. Yeah, I love that. We're on the same page there. I want to ask you, I know we're over time now, just quickly. I mean, I've been getting fed a ton of content. It's just going viral. And that is ByteDance's C-Dance 2.0, dropped about a week ago. I mean, it's so good that Disney and Paramount have sent cease and desist. When you see that, I know this is video, but is that what is coming for design as well? And how do you think about Chinese models? Do you serve them? Are you hesitant to serve them? Do they just have to be the best to be on the Figma platform?
I think that what we're still lacking in diffusion approaches, media generation, is the ability to really target something and say, this is the thing I want to go change, and here's how I want to change it, and have that ability to really directly manipulate. And so we're trying to get there with Weavy, Figma Weave. And I think that process and workflow can really get you far. And yet there's just still so much more to do. So you can create stuff that's truly impressive, and yet you lack the ability to really steer it and control it. And so that's what I think it needs to be ahead for these models on the media side. Right.
Could talk a little bit about Chinese models. They're just getting better and better. And Lunar New Year, obviously, everyone wanted to get it out and show it out. If a Chinese model does become the best tool for your customers, do you offer it?
Well, first of all, Happy New Year. I mean, Lunar New Year to anyone who's celebrating. But yeah, I mean, we do not have any offerings around Chinese models right now. And I think that, we need to really be auditing every model we look at, making sure it's meeting our standards. That applies to all models, American models, Chinese models, right. European models. And I think that it's super important that the industry figures out how to do better interpretability on all these models so that we can know that the models are safe and secure and have that confidence.
If it's safe, if you're hosting it on your own servers, right, because you can with Chinese open source models, do you offer it?
That's not currently something we offer.
Okay. Last question. This is a good one from the chat, the live stream chat as well. The question is, AI agents are shrinking dev teams. Even with Figma's AI, fewer employees mean fewer seats. What is your strategy to handle this potential drop in revenue?
So I would say, well, first of all, we're in quiet periods. There's only so much I can say right now. Yes. But I think tune into earnings tomorrow, and I'm sure this will be something that we talk about more.
Okay. And then fine, last question. If you're able to answer this one, how are you guys using AI internally? Are your non-technical users or employees increasingly using vibe coding or AI coding tools? Are you seeing it in departments like HR and marketing?
Yeah, we have Figma Make. So we're using Figma Make, which is a prompt to code tool all over the company. And people are doing amazing stuff with it. So yeah, we're leaning into that, but also we are trying just to experiment more broadly with all sorts of things. And we're always trying to learn. So it's an exciting time. Right. I just want to end with that. I think it's really, really exciting to see so many people building. And the more that people are building, I think the more that they get design built. Right. And as someone who wants to make design accessible to everyone and make it so that people can take whatever's in their head and get it on a screen and have that feedback loop and iterate and go explore and get to the best solutions, like this is probably the most exciting time for that vision that I've ever seen across over 13 years of working at Figma. So yeah, very excited. You're living it. That's what happened here.
That's such a great message. Amid this disruption, you're excited. And I actually feel the exact same way about media as well. There's a lot of disruption. There's a lot happening. But if you're embracing those tools, it is the most exciting time to be in probably both our industries. So great note to end on. Dylan, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be watching your earnings later this week. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Big thank you to Sammy in the control room, Jasmine for covering the space for me, Robert, Evan on the tech side, Drew and Laura on production. We'll see you guys again soon. Thanks again, Dylan.